Hello, I'm here on a beautiful day at Babylonstoren, where I'm a master gardener. My name is Gundula Deutschlander. I have great pleasure in being able to be in this incredible environment. Babylonstoren is a working farm on the way to Franschhoek, just outside of Cape Town, and we have this beautiful ornamental garden that is also an edible garden. We grow fruit, vegetables, edible flowers, herbs, all of these things that we sell at our shop or also online. Now, today I'm starting a series on how you can actually be encouraged to grow fruit and vegetables and herbs in your own garden or even on your balcony. So I'm going to slowly take us through the different steps of how to choose and how to feel confident in starting your own. This is really a beginner's guide, but it's just so exciting and there's lots to share. In the first section of our series, I'd like to focus on location and the challenges that come with your location, as well as that includes your sun, wind, soil, those kind of things. It's really about planning your vegetable garden. So location is it. It's all about location, and these challenges that are brought up with your specific requirements for growing edibles will really be determined by the site that you have. So to be able to grow edibles, you really need a lot of sunshine. If you have a shady garden, you're going to really be struggling to grow anything that you actually want to harvest and to eat, because edibles really are so reliant on all that sunshine. And so it's still fair enough if you have morning light. We are now focusing on winter, so you'd really be noticing how much sun is entering the garden. It's a very good time of year to take note how far these shadows from trees and buildings stretch across, and that will really focus on the space you have left that's remaining for actually growing fruit and vegetables and herbs. So the next really important aspect to take note of, particularly in the Cape, is our strong winds. Luckily in winter we don't have a Cape southeaster, but we get some pretty storms, and it's really valuable to even put up screens like this. In a city garden, you might even find that the buildings tunnel the wind throughout certain areas and will even create little cyclones that can be quite difficult for many plants to get growing. And so try and actually set up screens or trees that might help, whether they're deciduous or evergreen. All of these soft plant-like structures actually help filter the wind, so it diffuses it and it can just come much more easily in its flow over the garden. Good air circulation is really beneficial. It does prevent quite a lot of pests, but you don't want things blasting through there. The next important thing really is water. And I know Cape Town, we have to deal with drought regularly, and I think it just feels so good to be able to use your grey water when you're actually watering your plants. At home I have all my grey water just funneling out towards my vegetable garden, and even my pot plants are all being watered by grey water. So it might also be easy for you to just switch your basins from the house to actually have flowing pipes within the vegetable garden or in that direction, or into tanks that you can even use again later. But I think that's really a boost. It does take many years to actually build up good soil structure, but it's never too late to start. So if you have a look around and dig in your soil, make sure if you have a new house, there's not like cement rubble lying around the edges of your house, because that's going to be seriously detrimental. Then it's maybe better to just plant in pots. Otherwise, dig fairly deep to get started with, to see if maybe under the sandy layer there's a clay layer, because what you really want is good drainage. If there's any obstruction lower down the soil, let's say 50 centimeters down, you're going to have to test it by pouring water down the hole and see how quickly does water actually find its way out again for good drainage. And that will then depend also what kind of plants you want to grow. If you have very hard, stony soil, you will not be growing carrots for the first few years until you've built up enough layer to actually get some depth. Whether you have sandy soil or clay soil, compost is what's going to make the difference. You might be able to buy compost, you might be making your own compost at home, which is really invaluable. I really encourage everybody to make their own compost at home, or having an earthworm container for the refuse that you have from the kitchen. It's just so much livelier than anything else that you can buy, and that's what you want to capture. You want to have incredible life within the soil itself. Here we've been working very hard for many, many years, and slowly the soil has risen to really create a very fertile space where here we've been growing beetroot. I'd like to dig in here and just actually show you what it looks like. So I just want to show here what happy soil this beetroot's actually growing in. Really nice, loose structure. Actually just gently been living in there. But how friable this is. It's compost, sand, and there's the earthworm. So full of life. With no-dig agricultural practices, the idea is really to boost the foundation in which your plants are growing. The value of your soil really is the treasure that you're creating here. And it's about having a serious life factor within the soil itself that will support what will be growing up above it eventually. So you want to treasure this and respect this as much as possible. I'd like to share a couple of tools here. My favorite is the fork. I love the fork. That's because at home also I'm working in a very young garden where most of the time I'm actually using a pickaxe to get the stones out. But we're aiming to have a garden where the soil is as wonderful as this. Really loose and friable with good drainage. So to get here, you need to do a little bit of hard slog, working enough compost, dig around a bit, raking, get things smoothed again. But in the end, you really want to interfere as little as possible with the soil. You want the diversity in the soil to be contained and to be just carrying on with it and functioning without us interfering the whole time. And so when you get started, you'd probably also, if you have a large space, be using a grub like this, which pulls the soil loosely just to get rid of the weeds that might be covering on top. This is very useful if you find these really nice old tools in an antique store, to draw the lines in which you can sow your seedlings or your seeds. And in the end, you hopefully would probably just be ending up with a little tool like this. And that'll be your best friend.